record, do all the things.
Go.
Spin up the flux capacitors.
Okay, now. Why did this happen? Oh. Maybe. Meeting. Yes.
Notion AI is transcribing this meeting.
Do we have all of these things doing the... Are we very recorded?
Very recorded. Little calculations, musings, and such. All right.
I'm even going to use a paper and pencil on top of all of this because that's what I do to keep my head straight.
Okay. So what's the last thing that you sent to me? The last thing that you sent to me was the README index and start here files separately, and I think I couldn't even get that to go in the toolkit master. Should I share screen with you?
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, well, before we get into the technical stuff, I guess we gotta kind of sort out the whole, like your text this morning is like several things, and several things at different orders of magnitude, I guess I'd call it, right? So some more global things, some more specific technical things. Mm-hmm. And so you know, clearly it's sort of an overwhelm manifestation.
Yep.
But in exploring and doing what we're doing, I frame that as a good thing, not a bad thing. Yeah. But it all depends on how you lean into the discomfort, for lack of a shorter way of saying this. And then, you know, just now, like on our call, you're like, I don't know if the toolkit can work. And it's like, the toolkit is nothing but a scaffolding of folders and generic files, so it can't not work. It's understanding what's going on, and so there's the mechanistic things, there's the high level sort of overwhelm things, there's this mid-tier. I'm working with Obsidian and Notion. I can't get those things to hook together. There's the community aspect of it. So there's like several different things here. And, you know, I want to do everything I can to, you know, sort of walk you through and kind of check box off all of those items of concern, let's say.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you know, I mean, there's even clearly some system operation issues going on or something like that. Like there's no amount of me, like when we had the I can't reset my password issue. Mm-hmm. I spent a couple hours. I screwed around with plugins. I was buried in the rabbit hole of Google reCAPTCHA. I was looking at a couple of other things and having an assistant helping me. And then ultimately the patch came that you just created another account. Now I got another account in there, and we have to figure out how to like match the subscription from one account to the other account. Yeah. And so nothing ever really got fixed. We patched it. I don't know if something on my side's broken, needs to get fixed. I don't know if it's a Google reCAPTCHA thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so, you know, backstage, I did what I could. We came up with a fix. It's clearly not the best way to handle it because I'd like to know exactly what was going on and fix that,
of course,
for future. Nobody else had that problem. there's not a lot of people in the community yet, you
Yeah.
know, so I don't know if there's a real, I don't know if the issue is global or if the issue is on your side, right?
Right.
And if so, then what do I do to help you patch from that side, you know, like if it's a browser thing or something like that, right? Not targeting you as being at fault for anything. It's just where's the issue originating from and how do we fix it, really? So there's that kind of thing going on there. It's several convolutions, I guess I'd call it. And what, you know, somewhere or another here, what you got to be able to do is get the entire toolkit, because it's evolved probably 2 or 3 generations from even that
Okay.
you're showing me on your thing. But we got to get through being able to unzip a file, and you know,
Yeah.
and not just read a couple of helper docs at the beginning of the toolkit, actually get into what's in the toolkit.
Right.
So
The problem that I was
work.
having, the problem that I was having was that the toolkit zip file was empty, and so I couldn't. That's what I mean when I say
problem, right? Like that's still got to be some sort of unzipping
I don't know.
problem.
Yeah, that's the part I don't know about, and when I don't know about that stuff, then I get overwhelmed. And it's mostly because I feel like I should know these things, but I don't, and then I get really bamboozled. So I can say this about myself: I can be challenging to work with if I start feeling stupid. It's old wound shit.
Well,
and that's all.
Yeah, so there's this aspect of the conversation, and I think it's actually sort of like really foundational to understand it.
Yeah.
And so I can be presumptive of your understanding of what I speak about when I say flow psychology. And so flow psychology, the state of flow, is actually a 4-phase cycle. And if you run it the wrong way, the opposite way, it works very poorly. Essentially, it doesn't work, if you will. If you're running it forward, it works great. But the way you frame the discomfort and the way you lean into the struggle has a lot to do with the paycheck of flow that you get after that. Okay. So just to rehearse the ABCs of this, actually the ABCDs of this, you start and struggle, you accumulate a certain amount of learning and objectives and goals and figuring shit out and all of that kind of stuff. You kind of get to a saturation point. Phase 2 is release, where you have to disconnect your consciousness from what the hell's going on and the overwhelming toil of that. And then you slip into flow. Flow is metabolically, the experience is awesome. You feel your best, you perform your best, but it's metabolically expensive. And so the 4th phase is recovery. And then once you've recovered enough, you get back into struggle again, right? You start taking on more stuff and then you recalibrate. Now, if you run it backwards, you go from discomfort of struggle into overwhelm into I just need to relax. That's not really release. The subconscious pretext is not good. It gets really hard to access flow. And on top of all of this, this is a fractal experience. It happens in short time frames and it happens in long time frames.
Right.
And so if you really don't know the specifics of it, and you don't know how to navigate your way through it by way of framing the experience properly, so you know when to lean in and when to back off, you end up going backwards and it doesn't work. You know, so
what you just described makes complete sense. That's how I experienced that, because I did.
I'm not making this up, right?
Right.
This is absolutely well-founded.
Yeah.
And I will capstone it with, it's easy to say and hard to do.
Exactly.
And so that's the caveat there, right?
I've experienced that struggle into flow state when I was training in yoga. And for
Oh, sure.
a lot of the poses, I was not breathing for months. And when I
Right.
finally did start to breathe through these movements, the entire game changed. And that was that paycheck. And it was just like, oh my God. And
Holy shit, it's starting to work, Batman.
I went right to my teacher and I was like, let me tell you about what's happening. And they were like, hey, don't talk to other people about this. You're going to seem crazy. But like, yes, this is the process. This is what happens. Then I was able to spot it when climbing, and I could feel
Right.
it there.
Yeah.
So I got some glimpses of that here when I was like running about 4 or 5 different projects at the same time and like in co-working, and was
Right.
like, oh my gosh. And I
Yeah,
could feel me getting hungry. I was like, I want all of it.
Well,
And
here's
then
where
I
you got to
started
be.
tripping.
This is where you got to be careful. And this is also about understanding late life brain development.
Mm-hmm.
So you have hyperplasticity, let's say, and receptivity when you're young, and your brain's like a sponge, and it just sucks in everything from every which way, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's also sort of fractal in nature that these time frames of later life development come in. Later on, what you're actually developing more, because of a large set of experiential base across multiple fields, is lateralization. We can also say, if it's in relationships, it's empathy, right? And so that's why I'm an advocate of not just small scale, low risk pilot projects like for climbing, but also for using a container like you're using, like you just mentioned, yoga.
Mm-hmm.
That then becomes your incubator container for lateralizing that, we'll say in Claude code for practical terms, right? And so that's sort of your safety blanket, I would say. So when you're in there and you're really kind of in the shit, to be able to sort of push back, become objective to it, and go, can I relate this feeling, not the technical mechanism, but the feeling and the intellectual disposition, to a way I was feeling when I was struggling in yoga? And that's bringing in the lateralization aspect of it, right? Because that's that zone of familiarity where you did get through.
Yeah.
And then this is a zone where you're developing but haven't broken through yet, right? And so that's sort of how you create a margin of padding, let's say, for kind of keeping you warm in the shit, you know?
That's so perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's,
because I didn't realize I wasn't breathing until I started to breathe, and that's what's happening now.
Right.
Yeah.
Or somebody keeps tapping you on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, buddy, breathe." Oh shit! Yeah, I wasn't breathing.
Wasn't I breathing?
You can breathe through that? Oh yeah, you've been telling me that for 2 years. Okay, great. You know, so that's come. You know, so I'm going to tap you on the shoulder and tell you to breathe. Quick try right now. Notion being connected to Claude, off limits. You're not there. Connecting it to Obsidian, you're not there. I just want a folder that's in the documents. Cowork accesses folders on your desktop.
Okay.
All you're going to do is have a toolkit, the downloaded toolkit. We got to get you through getting it unzipped. It rests in your documents folder on your desktop, if you want to call it. It's not your desktop, but it's on the computer. And when you start a task in Cowork, it says add to folder or work in folder.
Right.
The toolkit is your working folder. It has all the subfolders in it for working files and retained session files, all that kind of stuff, right? And you build in there. And all you do is build with markdown files. And those markdown files can go anywhere.
Okay.
They can be pulled back into any AI chat. They can be exported from any chat. They all form the basis for your source of truth that is independent of the conversation. And honestly, if you look in the community, there's stages that you go through. You're skipping over the lower stages to do some fancy stuff. It's like in martial arts. I just want to do spinning wheel kicks. No. You got to start with a front kick. The front kick is, and you should see what I do every day. And it's crazy because I'll pull Andrea in and I'll be like, I'm now, when you enter in a prompt, you see the little spinning Claude orange star thing, and it says thinking. If you click on thinking, you see it's quote unquote thinking.
Right. Its entire process.
I'm now copying and pasting that out to markdown files and then tweaking the way I prompt, not for output, but to create deeper thinking in Claude.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm not advocating that you operate at that level. I'm saying that's the weird stuff I'm doing right now to optimize for our interaction, because that's what I'm looking for. And so as an example of what came out of that in the last couple of days is the AI doesn't work well with strict rules, but it works well with principles. But it works within the context, and fundamentally, you want it to be creative, right? You want it to come up with all the novel solutions to everything that you can't come up with your limited knowledge versus its big pile of training data, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't necessarily access all of that. And so if I give it a first principle, and the first principle was when you write copy, you have to enter the conversation already going on in the person's head. Once I queued up that principle, it recognized that was an old Robert Collier copywriting technique. But until I said that, even though I said that, it wasn't using it to write copy, even though it knew it in the training data. And so it doesn't always use all of its training data. It's optimizing for completeness in the conversation, and it's working within the context, right? And so behind this is understanding, we talk about hallucinations where it just makes shit up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. Hallucinations is just a negative connotation for confident but undesired output, but it's actually creativity. And so do you want to reduce hallucination to 0? Because then all you're going to get is just rote response, right?
Okay.
Hallucination is just a distortion that we think is negative, but actually we want to optimize for creativity from the AI to help us figure out all the shit we've never figured out before. And so the way you do that is through principles and through inference and the applied knowledge system that I've built in the toolkit. So that, as a container aside, doesn't address the conversation that you and I are currently having, but that's the level of interaction that I currently want you to get to with Claude. That's the AI fluency. It's not about being able to hook up MCPs to everything and work with vector databases and all that kind of stuff. Because if you just create this magical channel where you can just blab all day long into a Slack channel, and then you expect AI to sort that stuff all out, that's not really helping you clarify your thinking and articulate your ideas and get the most out of working with AI, right? It's actually a hindrance rather than a leverage. So
Okay.
that's why I say, just knock off all of that stuff. Just take baby steps. Because right now, if you automate, say, LinkedIn or whatever, pick your poison, all you're going to do is take regression to the mean responses from AI and put it out at scale and think you're getting somewhere, I suppose,
Right.
So just knock off all the fancy stuff right now and literally work in Claude in one window and then back and forth with a markdown file. And so
Okay.
when you sit down with Claude, you say, what I want to do article based upon whatever in your, you're going to create a nice piece of content, right? Before you write it, let's start with a planning document. Write a planning document, markdown file, stick it in the session working files in the toolkit so that you and I can have a conversation discussing all the ins and outs of why you would write that, what information sources are you pulling from, all of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
This is the absolute bottom baby steps, but it's really wide bandwidth understanding how the AI thinks and works, and how you have to figure out how to get it to get where you want. And every time things don't work out that well, just stop and say, I noticed you wrote that, it didn't work. That's not what I meant. What did we do there? Right? Was it me? Was it you? That kind of thing. Right? That learning curve will actually go really quick. You're not a teenage kid just wanting to play a video game, right? You have a sophisticated knowledge base within your area, and you'll immediately see what's poor quality, what's a hallucination,
Right.
all those things. And then what you have to do is slow down enough to correct those with Claude and say, you know what, you need to add this to your personal preferences or my personal preferences or whatever. These are all structures in the toolkit, right? And so what happens is it takes you the first day to make one document. On the second day, you can make 2 documents. On the third day, you can make 17 documents, blah, blah, blah. What you don't realize is so far in the toolkit, you've read a couple of documents. The toolkit now has over 2,500 documents in it. It is a very sophisticated platform. I've actually maxed out the ability, even now, with the 1 million token context window that we have with Sonnet 4.6. I don't know if you know that, but this last week it bounced from 200K to 1 million.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. No.
Okay, so our context window just bounced 5 times.
Wow.
I still can't get all the context in with the session startup prompt. And so I'm making subcontexts for any given type of work that I'm doing. And I figured that out because I run the session startup prompt, and then I can see into thinking, it's like, well, you mentioned this. I wonder if that's encoded in the toolkit. And I'm like, well, of course it's encoded in the toolkit. It didn't bring all of that in. So the toolkit itself has, with all of its files, the AI at session startup understands the schema, but it's way more that can be held within the thread, right? So it's literally the limitations of the conversation. And so it's not that the AI is not capable. The AI is super, super capable. I mean, it's really awesome. But if it doesn't have context to work with you on, by way of the independent source of truth that we're creating in the toolkit. Either you have to put it in real time, which means you have to write a story every time you enter the prompt, right? Or you're going to get output that's based upon its training data, and it's optimized for completion of the conversation, not reviewing everything it's ever been trained on.
Right.
So you get this weird regression to the mean fallacy output. It's like if you try to do everything for everybody, you do nothing for, or
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It becomes this situation, and that's all the AI can possibly do, right? Like there's not enough specificity to focus its horsepower in the container that you want it to, right? It's just unregulated ask for output, right? So boundary conditions encourage creativity rather than constrict creativity. That's the principle going on when interacting with the AI. And short of doing any technical thing with the toolkit, just start with a folder on the desktop and get it to output content to a markdown file so it doesn't get lost in the conversation. That would be like the preamble before even ever deploying the toolkit, right? Is like you have conversations and you come up with ideas and it draws conclusions for you and you do all this kind of stuff. And then the session ends, and what was good about that, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you're not having a disciplined approach of always doing that. Meanwhile, you're trying to figure out how to maintain a connection via MCP to a vector database.
Right.
So it's slop on top of slop. It's like second order loss of work or something, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you also have a big pile of documents, right? Of all your intellectual property, all of your session notes, I'm sure you have a ton of artifacts, right?
Yes.
So one of the folders in the toolkit, and this is really simple, like, I guess my punchline is you don't need the toolkit if you just do what I'm saying. There's a folder in the toolkit that says incoming material. And then there's a prompt, which is assess the incoming material. And so what you do is, from wherever else that the toolkit is a dynamic and thing that the AI works on it. Everything there is liable to loss, right? It can delete things, it can change things, and that kind of stuff. So you only copy stuff into it, and you only copy it out over again, right? But you can take session notes, you can take business plans, you can take fill in the blank, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You bring those into, and it can be PDFs, it can be doc files, it can be spreadsheets, all that kind of stuff. You put that in the incoming materials folder. And again, there's nothing special about the toolkit. You can even just tell it to make a prompt that does it, and you can do that aside. It's just that I got 2,500 files in there. You might as well take advantage of the work that I've done. But you throw a PDF of whatever in there, and you say, here's a PDF of a business plan. I'd like you to first convert it to a markdown file, because every time the AI has to process a PDF, it processes it as an image. You chew up lots of tokens. It's not efficient, but it can do it the first time, create it to a markdown file, and then discuss with me where it needs to go in the context stack. And then boom, so you're building it from two angles. You're building it real time with conversations that you're having, but then you go, the plan is I got to get all of my stuff in there, and you and the AI can work back and forth and process everything that you feel is important we'll say from the past or pre-AI or however you want to do it. And then that all builds in the context stack, because that's the one thing that has been cleansed in the toolkit is you just have the scaffolding for the context stack. There's no specific context because I'm building it using my context to build the scaffolding. So we don't want them to cross pollute each other. So
Right.
when I deploy it, I have it clean all those out and put space holders for all of that stuff.
Right. Right.
But that gives the AI a lot to work with, because you go look at the schema, use that as a scaffolding for us to pack full of all of my stuff, and then you get
Right. That informs the AI to ask me specific questions, and I give it answers that fill in the blanks for the context
all day long.
All day long. That's what I mean when by saying like I want it to work, meaning to use the schema and to fill it in, because right now I'm haphazardly trying to tell it everything. And what I have realized is that I'm just telling it what my wounds are. so
that's good information. That's good information too. It fills in the top level of the personality side of the stack, and it's actually valuable. It actually helps.
I agree.
In downstream asset production, it's actually quite valuable because you get a personal nuance to things, right? So it's important context.
Here's why my compassion and empathy looks the way it does.
Yeah, but you end up with diminishing returns because like there's no content strategy for my Substack,
right,
or something, right? Or it's time for you to download all your contacts from Facebook and from LinkedIn and feed it to the context stack and tell it to find the people in there that are most important to reach out to, or something like that, right?
Shit. Wow.
These are the strategies that you can, these are derivative strategies once there's enough context.
Okay.
But until you have enough context, there's no way for anybody to know that's true.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's the crossover point that I want to steer your struggle into, let's say. Right.
Yes. That feels like a pathway that's clear to flow. Yeah.
And that's the opportunity zone.
Yeah.
Not the, why doesn't my damn computer unzip a file?
Right.
Right. Because if you go to the community right now, you just go to the page and you click on the link, you download the latest version of the toolkit. That's a zip file. And it unzips and it downloads. I promise you, it downloads and it unzips and it's not empty.
Okay. Okay.
It's and what's crazy is 2,500 files is like zipped. It's like 2.8 meg, and expanded. It's like 6 meg. That's
because
the
it's
superpower of
markdown.
AI. Is like you can do so much with so little. Your life can now live on a thumb drive, and it's just absolutely amazing. And you also need to understand sort of the universal help desk, right? So if it's not working, you need an AI. I use Perplexity with the assistant, but literally I just got done filing my taxes. You would not believe how much better the AI assistant is than the help desk in TaxAct. Like the Tax Act website still operates with a dumb chatbot. Close that thing down. I used the AI, the assistant in the comment browser, got through all of my Tax Act stuff, no problem. I was working on the website and I was having problems with, something in the theme and it wasn't working right. Open up the assistant, parsed my way, just describe what was going on. It opens up that tab and you see the blue glowing tab, and it walks me right through it. I'm setting up MailerLite. That's the email service. It has a sort of a complex authentication method to be able to pipe the emails through your domain. And that was I use SiteGround for hosting my WordPress site. And so I got 2 tabs going on. The assistant bouncing back and forth, looking at the directions that are needed. It's technical. It's the CNAME and text authentication stuff. I used to figure that stuff out myself, and it's literally brain frying type stuff.
Right.
Now I was like just sitting there going like this. Wow, look at that thing go. And
Yeah.
it would just bounce back and forth, bounce back and forth, bounce back and forth. And it just did it all. And so your universal help desk, don't ask me, ask the AI assistant. It's available 24/7 and it'll figure everything out. So first is if you can download it, unzip it. If you can unzip it,
Okay.
get that thing to
Here's where we are.
It happens.
Here's where we are right now again.
Yeah.
And wait a minute, this is in a different. All right, so this won't let me share my screen because I'm in a different email address and a different thing, but I needed to show you the FOSG page. Let me see if this works. I can just copy it over to this one. It took screenshots or something, or saved my let me see if this works. My username and password, like every time that I typed a character in. So here's what I'm
really following what you got going on.
This. Oh, it's not showing. What? Why isn't it showing? Let me see if I can get to it. Oh, that's so strange. This isn't letting me show you the tab that I'm currently in. Allow. Can you see this?
I can see that. Do you have is it something like a certain tab gets shared or something?
When I click this open, it gives me a string of just today.
Well, just do
Gmail. I don't understand why it's not showing it here.
Well, hide the password so that nobody sees it on the video, and then just log in.
This is incorrect, though. This is not the email address I'm using. I don't know why this isn't filling it in.
You got to get the right one to fill in.
So here's where I'm going to get frustrated because I don't know how to navigate Google properly.
Well, unshare.
I have another profile open on this screen over here.
Yeah.
And in that one is where all the information is saved. And it saved 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 different username and passwords with every character that I typed in. So
yeah, that's a browser issue.
Yeah.
I'm currently struggling. I got like 1,000 bookmarks and it's been jacking them all up for me and stuff like that too. So this is a browser issue. What I would say is unshare your screen so it doesn't show up on video. Well,
it won't. I mean, it won't show up there. But yeah, I will
stop
there. But I don't know if this password's going to work because I don't know if any of those are right. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Get logged in. And you can delete those unusable logins in your passkeys.
Okay.
You just got to clean them up.
No, that didn't work.
So,
and this is partly just because I don't have a working memory. I don't remember which email I used or which password it is. And so I use it, I change it in Bitwarden, and then sometimes it doesn't save, and then I don't have the right one. And it usually
Okay.
slows me down
All right. So
quite a lot.
I'll tell you what I've been doing for decades, and it still works great. First off, I use LibreOffice for my Office suite.
Which is what is that?
LibreOffice. It's
But-
like Microsoft Office, only it's free.
Okay.
And so I created a document, and the document has the URL, my username and password on each line. And it's like 15 pages at this point. It's hundreds of passwords. But that is my independent source of truth. And that one document is password protected for opening it. So it's an encrypted doc. And I don't know, it's still got to be less than a meg large. It's super small, right?
Right.
And so that's how I keep track of all those things. And it gives me a copy and paste capability to the browser.
Yep.
And that has survived a couple of decades worth of browser upgrades and scrambling all the shit and you name it, right?
I've been doing that in Google Docs too. But
Google Docs
I will
is
forget.
server side.
Is what?
Google Docs is server side.
Right. And that's why I wanted to move away from it.
I
Using
air
Bitwarden.
gapped this is air gapped. It's literally on a thumb drive. I have a thumb drive that has all my Val docs, I call it. And so that's my disconnectable, encrypted, local, redundant, air gapped system memory for all my user accounts and passwords.
I got in there.
Good.
It turns out it was updated in Bitwarden, but it's not updated in the other one. One of my problems is I'll create too many systems, and then I don't know which one I'm actually using.
Yeah, you need a system of systems.
Yeah.
So right now,
okay, so that's actually correct. All right, so
right now, before you go any further, take a note of which login got you in.
I just took a note of it, and it is in two places. It's where it was trying to fill it in, and the other browser actually doesn't work, and now I can leave that behind.
Okay.
All right. So, and this is now updated here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So go to resources, free Explorer, then go to the Explorer resources and click on that, the link. The link is the thing that makes the hand. There you go. Click on that.
And then I'll save this into the folder that I created in documents.
Well, it when you unzip it, it is a folder, so that can be, you can just drag it into documents, and that's your shareable thing.
Okay. So then in that case, I just want to leave it where it was and open it. Error identifying a writable temporary folder. Try moving the archive to another volume.
Okay. Where did it, when it downloaded it, where did it download to?
To my downloads folder. However, it's saying that it's in Dropbox. I have had the worst time removing Dropbox from this, so it's probably in my Dropbox documents or downloads. So I need to move it out of there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move it.
With what you have going on before you started working with AI, you got yourself a nightmare of security issues.
Yes.
To the point where you can't even, you're not even sure where stuff is going. And so this only leads to real bad places.
So how do I fix this?
You gotta know when you're working just on your computer versus when things are syncing up to cloud directories or
I'm trying to remove Dropbox from here. I've taken everything out of it, but it's still dropping everything in it. And I'm like, where is it existing that trigger takes place? So how do I get rid of that? And then it'll
well,
actually
if we
go-
can't even download an application and run it,
yeah.
you're off in the weeds in a way that, because I would say use CC Cleaner, download CC Cleaner. It's a free.
I already did, and I ran it.
Did you get rid of all Dropbox?
It did. I don't know. It didn't. How would I use it to check for that specifically?
I gotta double check my memory on this because I haven't done it for a while. Do you have a desktop app that is like a Dropbox interface, or is it just that Dropbox is?
I had the app, and I removed it,
Okay.
and I've made every attempt to delete everything. There's still a Dropbox folder in here, and I think when I try to move it to the trash, it won't go.
So this is so it's probably a system preferences thing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so
actually, it went to the trash. Let me see if I can empty the trash. Hey, maybe
but the thing is that might only be for this boot up, right? If it's in startup items inside of system preferences, next time you restart, it's going to pull it back in, reconnect it, default to syncing everything and all that kind of crap too. So use the desk. Are you using Comet or what are you using for a browser for like your normal browser?
My browser is Google Chrome.
So that probably has like a Gemini a side window in it at this point.
Yeah.
So you could use that, or there's a Claude plugin for Chrome.
I've got that.
So that can be one of these things where you just work through sort of a help desk ticket of
Gotcha.
walk me through the steps of completely deleting Dropbox from my system preferences so it no longer tries to sync things out, right?
Okay.
So that, and you can do that outside of the meeting.
That'll be at the top of my list. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so
any other thing, if you're doing that with Google Drive, same deal. You're basically creating a weird bandwidth issue, through your internet connection because everything's got to sync all the time. But you're also creating an exaggerated security risk that essentially has no benefit per se. And so I would just recommend against that. You don't, it's not warranted and it's a security problem. So you're better off just, for $17 at this point, you can buy, I think, 528 gigabyte thumb drives. For $40-50, you can get a terabyte external drive. There's no reason to try to figure out how to keep this stuff constantly synced with the cloud. And you can maybe get there at some point, but you should make sure that all of your security protocols and verifiability is up and running before you do that. And so there again, it's more harm than good at this point, I would say.
all right. I just saved the AI mastery copy zip onto what would be my hard drive. It is no longer in the cloud.
Can you share the desktop as opposed to the browser tab?
Let me see if I can.
Is it the same desktop that you're working in? Well, it must be, right? Yeah.
It's something different. Hang on. Let me see if I can
Switch it over.
Explorer. No. No, it won't let me do it. Why? I think because I'm in a different, Google makes different, what's the word? Different, for different emails, I get a whole different window. And I don't know what the value of this is. It really seems like it only confuses me. But it's
Yeah.
almost like it's its own conglomeration of browser information. So I've got one
like
that,
spaces or something. Okay,
so
well, either way, don't fight with that.
all I'm trying to show you is my my Finder window, so that you can see where it's saved and it's on the desktop. I just decided to put it on the desktop, and it's
Great.
still giving me the same error thing, error identifying writable temporary folder. Try
Okay,
moving the
hang on a
archive to
second.
a volume.
Stop right there. Remember how to type. Hang on. Spit me back that error again. Error.
Error identifying a writable temporary folder. Try moving the archive to another volume.
Identifying. Wow. I even did it with caveman type. This usually means Mac OS's archive utility can't write to its temporary folder or the folder where the zip lives. Move the zip file, drag the zip file to your desktop. Clearly it's there already. Avoid, avoid network drives, external disks, or sync-only cloud locations. Surprisingly, that's what we were just arguing with.
Right.
Check file disk space. I'm sure you got enough space for it. Try unzipping via the terminal, often bypasses archive utility. Are you used to using terminal stuff? You shouldn't use
No.
CLI yet. Yeah. No, don't.
No, I'm not used to using the terminal at all.
Yeah.
I've had Claude walk me through it a couple of times though.
And then there's permissions stuff. Right click the zip file, get info. At the bottom it'll say sharing and permissions. It most likely, if you right click on the file, get info, it's going to show that you have read and write access to it. I'd be willing to bet.
And now it looks like that window is closed for some reason.
If you just right click on the zip file and get info.
It closed the window for some reason. Let me get back there. Okay, so get info.
It's just about the permissions on the bottom should be read and write.
Okay.
Are they?
Do you want me to open the read and write?
Just look at permissions. Is it should be defaulted to read and write. I don't know why it wouldn't.
Yes. Yeah. For me, it is read and write.
So that's a non-issue.
Okay.
So the last thing it says is a third-party unzipper. So you can install a dedicated unzip app like the Unarchiver from the Mac App Store.
Opening App Store. Searching for Unarchiver.
Yeah.
I'm looking at there's a couple of them that are also called like unzip, rare, the unarchiver, RAR, but this is just the unarchiver, right?
Well, do the one that's got 1 million downloads and good ratings, you know.
This one has,
That's just all, you know, me too. And also I made the app too, you know, that's just all that stuff.
well, I just grabbed one that's not awesome. Doesn't have a lot of downloads. I'm not seeing any that have 1 million. I'm not even
Well,
seeing many that are above. There's one that's 27,000 with full stars.
here, hang on. Just look at the chat window.
Yep, that's different.
Stick with me, Betty. Come on, buddy. You can do it.
Oh, wait a minute. No, I guess, what is that? The one must be the one I downloaded. It just looked different. Huh? And now it's asking me about all the different types of zip files to unzip.
Meaning what?
It's just got a big list of different types of zip files.
I don't know why I haven't used it, so I don't, you know.
Okay. It's archive formats. It doesn't really seem to have any way for me to advance.
You're just installing an app.
It's already installed.
Well, there's one of two things. Either double click on so
it's in the settings for some reason.
So right click on the app, open with, and then the unarchiver app.
Right, it's already open. I'm in it. This is the settings of the unarchiver that it's asking me to do stuff with. And then when I click X out of that, then unarchiver just disappears. I guess I'll try to open the file and see what happens here. Still an error.
Well, when you just opened the file, it was probably defaulting to the archive utility.
All right, I just dropped it into unarchive.
Yeah, there might be a drag and a drop. There might
extract. And add. Yes. Okay. Now I've got 10 folders.
10 folders.
So maybe this is the newest version.
It should be one folder with lots of folders inside it.
Right. So this is the AI Mastery Toolkit version 4.1 clean deployment copy. And inside of it, I have 0 through 10 folders.
Yes, sir. That is the working copy. You have successfully unzipped the file.
Sweet.
And you should acknowledge that there's a lot of gratitude to be had just for making baby steps that actually lead to success.
Yes. Yes.
Thank God.
I feel relief, and that is good.
So now this is a cool thing then. you should be able to, let's say, put that in the put the toolkit in the documents folder or wherever you want. It doesn't matter where it is, but you open up Claude and open up, go to co-work in Claude on the desktop.
I'm dropping it into my toolkit folder in documents on the desktop,
Okay.
or on the computer rather.
Yeah, on the hard
They
drive.
they are there.
So then if you go to co-work in Claude, clearly you have to add that folder. Is this what you're doing?
Yeah. So I'll drop the toolkit into Claude when I'm working in cowork.
No. No.
Interesting.
I have to get your attention away from doing things while listening.
You're right. My computer is now frozen.
Bastard. Okay, while it's doing its thing, listen to what I have to say to you. In cowork, when you start a task, you say work in folder, right?
Mhm.
The toolkit is the folder you want to work in.
Right on.
The prompt to start with is run complete session startup prompt. You will be amazed. Look at how far we've come.
Yeah. Except that now I don't have any use of anything.
Are you running multiple computers?
Nope.
Well, how is that one? Do you have multiple displays on one computer?
Yeah, right. Yes. So I've got a monitor over here that I'm working with, and then the camera and you're over here.
And so is we're still having a meeting. So is the monitor frozen?
It's like I can move this. Are you sure you want to delete the toolkit master index volume 4? No, I don't want to do that. Why is that asking me if I want to do that? But I can't delete it. Then a drop down menu's frozen on here, and then it's booping at me.
Dare I ask how many applications and tabs you currently have running on your computer?
This usually is not a problem, and it's less than normal. I have the App Store open. I have Zoom and Notion open. I have Google Chrome open and several profile windows, but only maybe like 3 or 4 tabs in each.
But that can be hundreds of meg. You can be choking your RAM. So close the App Store. We're not using it anymore. Close Notion. We're not using that right now. You can boot it up again later. Scrub yourself down to as little as you can. There's also another another app that's really good, and it's let me see what the name of it is.
It's everything in Finder that it won't let me use. But
well, then you got to relaunch the Finder.
Well, I guess I got to force quit it.
No, wait. So you know the option Command Escape?
That doesn't appear to be working.
What that does is it opens up the force quit the current applications, but
Okay.
on the Finder you can relaunch the Finder. It's a Unix system, so all of these things are running independently. But if you're choking off your memory, it's just lagging behind being able to go from one to another.
Are you sure you want to delete toolkit master index v4md?
Nope.
Are you sure you want to delete toolkit master index v4md?
That is not giving me the option to force quit.
Worst case scenario, let it delete it.
I got it. I'm relaunching the Finder. Yeah, all that's running is Chrome, Notion, Zoom, and Stickies.
Yeah, okay. Zoom is a memory hog. Shut down Zoom. And shut down Notion. You can launch it again later.
I actually thought I had.
Sometimes it takes a little bit for things to close out and their caches to clear. That CC Cleaner app also does a good job of dumping all the cache and log files.
We did that. Yep.
Yeah. As a regular maintenance thing, that works out really good too. And having meetings like this is very memory intensive, right? So it can make everything pretty sluggish.
Okay.
Where you at?
I see. That seems to be the issue. I'm trying to delete the toolkit that you sent me in the email because I put it in that folder. I'm trying to get it out of there so that it's not also in there, and that seems to be what hung me up.
Okay.
Because now I've got to delete and a drop down again, and now nothing's responding.
Okay. That's other activities. Don't worry about that. As long as you attach to the right folder, we can get you moving forward.
Now I've got to wait, I guess, until it lets me force quit that again. For some reason, the command escape doesn't work.
It's not command escape. It's option command escape. It's 3 keys.
Ah. Okay. What shall I do next?
What do you got? I don't know what you're looking at.
I don't know if I can share it with you.
You don't have to share it. Just tell me what you got going on.
It's the toolkit folder. I've got them all moved into documents on the computer, not in a cloud.
Okay, great. Now let's just do what I say and not like do a bunch of other activities in the background, sir. Please. I just want you to breathe during your pose.
Understood.
Not listen to a podcast and write emails. Hey, listen before you act. We're going to launch Claude Desktop. We're going to go to co-work. We're going to start a new task, which now it defaults to doing that. In the chat window, you obviously can enter a prompt and say go, but you need to work in a folder. And so the folder you want to work in is our toolkit folder. And then I have a very specific prompt I want you to type in because that's going to initiate the toolkit.
Okay.
So launch Claude Desktop, attach the toolkit as the working folder for the task. And then we're going to initiate session startup.
Claude Desktop failed to launch.
I want you to loosen your jaw muscles because you're going to grind your teeth into little nubs.
Yeah. Claude Desktop is not launching right now. I just closed it. It was up and running today.
It sounds, without being able to see what's going on, is that you're at the top of you're at the max of your memory usage, which is why things are just responding like crap.
but I barely use my computer today. I usually do so much more with it.
Well, it doesn't mean that it isn't currently maxed out. Did you relaunch the Finder?
Finder's fine now.
Okay.
But now I can't launch Claude, which I was working on earlier.
If you do Option Command Escape, does it show that Claude is actually trying to run when it doesn't look like it's trying to run?
It's not running.
It's not running. What do y'all have running?
All right. So now I clicked on it and it's showing up there, but it says Claude desktop failed to launch.
Sir,
We
you
are
did not
still trying.
answer my question. What do y'all have running?
Right now, all I have running is Google Chrome and Finder.
Okay. So we're as minimal as we can be.
Yep.
What was the error with regard to Claude?
I'm sorry.
What was the error with regard to launching Claude?
Claude desktop failed to launch. Please check for updates and try again. If the issue persists, contact support.
I'm guessing that you maybe had that a couple of times.
Yep.
Well, then what you need to do is go on the browser, download the latest version of desktop, reinstall it, and launch from the reinstantiation. Claude app download, blah, blah, blah. I do have to say that this app basically updates damn near every day.
Right. I mean, it's been open all day.
I
I just closed it now.
fair enough.
Oh, weird.
It's not like I don't believe you. You know.
Yeah. So I'm going to the Claude AI. It's asking me to sign in. That's probably not what. Well, it signed me in. So how do I trigger the update? Where would I find that? Is that in
You have
my
to
preferences?
No, if you're downloading it, you have to download the app and reinstall it.
And I'm not in the right place. Okay. So I got the GMG.
Good.
And I'll replace the old one.
Double click, drag. Do you want to replace? Yes.
Yep.
Blah, blah, blah. Then relaunch.
Okay. Nope. Still won't launch.
Then there's a hiccup in log files or something like that. CC cleaner, dump the log files and that kind of thing. It's clearly saying something's not functioning properly, right?
Okay. Going to CC cleaner. This is so crazy. Like all of these problems happen when we get on here, when we're trying to work on something together.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, you know.
Okay. So I'm opening the cleaner. What is it I want to tell it to do?
You're putting me on the spot here. I got to figure it out. I forget. Quick clean.
Quick clean.
It'll look all over for everything.
Okay. App cache, log files, cookies, and web cache.
Yeah. You know, clearly right now the browser stuff is not causing a problem, right?
I don't know. Is that which? Oh, so you were saying do log files. So maybe I'll deselect all the other ones and just do the log files.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise you end up logging into everything on your browser and
Right.
all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Right now it's not a browser issue. It's a can't launch a
Okay.
application issue.
Should I launch Claude again?
If it did all of that, then quit the CC cleaner and give it a
Yep.
try. Let's see what's going on.
Spinning wheel of death. Why? All right. Okay.
Did it launch?
No.
What
Same error thing. Claude desktop failed to launch. Is it time to reboot the entire system?
Well, that would end our meeting.
Yep.
Let me see. I'm doing the universal help desk thing. I'm working with the assistant, and I just type in the error and I say that's what's going on, and give me some information. Claude desktop failed to launch. Persistent error on Mac. This is what you do. This is how you troubleshoot yourself through everything at this point. Claude desktops fail to launch on Mac usually comes from 3 buckets: Mac OS version permissions, corrupted app data, or issues with synced folders like iCloud and OneDrive. These freaking cloud drives, I'm willing to bet, because that was what our error was before. You know, basic checks and then kill and clean reinstall. That's what we're in the middle of trying to do. I'm willing to bet that you got some weird cloud-based networking things in your system settings that basically make it so that your whole computer tries to constantly mirror somewhere, and that'll always cause problems. So I think that's is it possible for you to share your system preferences?
I don't know.
Try
I-
that. Try
I
that
th-
with the in the meeting.
I think that
And yes, you might have to reboot.
yeah.
You know,
The
but
problem is I think I'm stuck in this browser window, and I can't get any other thing to show up for you.
because yeah, this is
Here we go. I think I got it. Can you see it now?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
good.
yeah. So login items and extensions. There's Google Drive. See open that login up near the top there.
For Google Drive, this one.
Yep, that means it's always going to turn on every time.
Okay.
Yeah, kill that thing. Get rid of it.
So I want to minus that from there.
Yeah. App background activity. Scrolling down. Wow, you still have GoToMeeting?
I
Congratulations.
don't clean up.
Congratulations, you just dated yourself. You still got
I-
GoToMeeting?
I don't clean up stuff. I don't know if I'm gonna mess things up, and it's so there may be all kinds of things in here.
Yeah, I mean, this you gotta. What you need is a good archiving system with external drives for all of your valuable stuff, and then you basically have to allow your computer to be essentially a clean up and dumb terminal that it can break tomorrow and it doesn't matter. And so when you have that attitude towards it, you can scrub stuff. Yeah, I mean, look at all of this.
Yeah.
Microsoft Teams and all this other kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Malwarebytes, that's going to cause issues. I don't even know what ID design is. Login server, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what any of these things are either.
Yeah. So CC Cleaner, if you open that up, and go to, what is it called? Like delete apps or something.
Here, let me see if I can share that now.
Uninstall apps, right? Yeah. There you go. Yeah, if it's loaded, you should be able to share it.
Is it sharing right now? There it goes. Okay.
There it goes. Yeah. So uninstall apps. This will now go through and show all the apps that you can like deal with, right?
Sweet.
So, Android file transfer, if you're not using that anymore, which, if you were syncing things, you probably haven't been using that for quite a while.
No, it doesn't work ever.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Right.
You have got a ridiculous
bazillion
number of these
apps and crap things. Yeah.
and I don't know which one I need to keep.
Now look at the size too. You can see what's really killing you, because there's a little bit of that size on the hard drive, which if you got a huge hard drive doesn't really matter all that much.
I do, yeah.
But that also connotates a little bit of how much of its local memory it's going to slug up. So I'm looking, 1, for memory hogs, and 2, for things that are going to cause weird connection issues, right? So those all look fine. Go back up. Nexigo webcam settings, is that your current webcam?
That's my current webcam we're using, yeah.
Okay. Microsoft Outlook are you doing all the Microsoft?
I'm no longer using that.
Okay, there you go. 2.87 gig when every other thing is so much smaller, right?
Yeah.
Pages, that's a Mac thing. Slack is okay if you're still using it, but it is connected. So if you try to API or MCP with Slack by default and Claude, this is going to be one of those things. It's going to try to launch and it's going to get slugged up, right?
I don't use Slack for anything right
then
now.
Delete it.
Okay.
What is Smart Switch?
That's like when I'm going to move this computer to a new computer, that kind of thing.
Last used in 2023.
When I got this computer, yeah.
Yeah. So delete it for now. And then just, there's a bunch of apps that you don't use normally and can be deleted. And then you just reinstall them at the time of, at time of use, right?
Okay.
So, let's see.
I haven't been using WhisperFlow at all. That's something you and I talked about.
Yeah.
Using, but I don't use it.
It's not going to get in the way of anything right now.
Okay, cool. That's
it.
it.
Are you normally using Zoom with your clients?
I have been for a really long time. I have a subscription with Zoom that probably will be another 6 or 7 months. So I'm just going to keep using it until that's done. But
yeah,
for the most part, I'm using Google Meets now.
Yeah. WhatsApp can be cranky. That can be one that either you delete or in your system preferences, make sure it's not always logged in or loaded in actively.
Okay. I'll have to go back and do that because I am in a business mastery group, and we use that almost every day.
Yeah.
So I'll check the preferences.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, it's it kind of depends on what you're doing. So without having really fine tooth combed this, we got 10 of them that can go. Yeah, you can do the uninstall. Well, the one questionable thing is making sure that your Epson printer works. We didn't really look at which ones you actually use versus don't use.
This this one right here, the updater, that one's the one that typically comes on. But that's just to update firmware to keep it working. But I don't know, like I did download a bunch of these.
Well, and see the software updater, that it's going to want to, but it doesn't need to be run every day.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, so that's another one where you check your, those files in the login items, or there's a couple other settings, where you're like, this thing is just persistently annoying my computer. And like once every 6 months it matters, right?
Right.
And so all it is drag coefficient to your everything,
Yeah.
Epson low ink reminder. Why does that need to be the case, right?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Anyway.
the Photo Plus, like this big one, is like, I don't know if this will make it so that I don't know. They seem like extra things.
Yeah. Then get rid of them.
Okay.
You can always bring them back. And if you were to go launch them right now and you haven't used it in a while, see,
I haven't used any of them.
Well, see, that's the thing. Say see the last used column. Basically, they've never been last used.
Yeah.
And so getting rid of them
them
is no downside for you, right?
Yeah.
So, and then Google Drive, that's the one that's being cranky with trying to mirror your computer to it.
Yeah.
That again is just a desktop app that essentially tries to persistently keep mirroring your computer to Google Drive.
Okay.
And I would say, hell no, not ever. It's also a security risk.
Okay.
So,
then I will. I'll get rid of that.
And there's no downside. Your Google Drive is still available on the cloud, right?
Right.
So, yeah. Anyway, and then
Great.
all those local environment apps, the Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, all that kind of stuff.
I don't need this.
Yeah, that's another bad boy right there.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't use it ever.
Yeah.
I don't ever use numbers. But that'll constantly try to download into the Mac environment.
Well, same thing with what is it? Numbers, pages, and then
yeah. I don't ever use those.
Pedestal, or what's the presentation one is? I forget what it's called. Front stage or
Keynote.
Yeah, keynote. Yeah.
Where is that? It's in here. There it is.
There
And I
it is.
don't use any of those. All right. Let's.
And you can. You're always able to install them again later if you suddenly have an extreme need to have more apps on your computer.
Yeah.
So, and you may be in a situation right now, we don't know, that you have to reboot in order to have a clean launch for Claude to work for whatever reason, for whatever we've created during this situation. But now the nice thing about having used this program to delete stuff as opposed to going into your apps and just deleting them is that all of the library files that connect to the apps have also been cleaned up. And so the nice thing about that is associated log files and crap like that are gone. And typically then they won't show up in your system preferences and stuff like that. A lot of times they can still show up in your preferences, even though you've deleted the app proper, so you run into situations like that, especially for like the native programs and stuff. But just for shits and giggles, you can try to launch Claude Desktop and see if it works. And the other situation, I don't even know this because I haven't done it for quite a while. Just launch Claude in the browser and see if there's co-work in the browser. I haven't done that for so long, I don't even know. But it should. The desktop app is just a wrapper. So
Yeah. This is really interesting. It looks as though Claude isn't showing up in my browser anymore, and it was there. I've downloaded the extension.
I'm not talking about the extension.
Okay.
I'm talking about
Straight up Claude. Yep.
a Claude web, I guess I'd call it. I think it's just AI.claude.
Claude.ai.
Claude.
Yeah. There it is. And everything's in it.
I haven't done this for quite a while, so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see co-work.
Hang on. I tried to launch it again from over here and that didn't work. Yeah, why isn't co-work on here?
It could be because co-work is a CLI interface. The desktop app is a wrapper for Claude Code.
Okay.
And Claude Code is a CLI level program. That could be another thing we could test is you can open up the terminal. So stop sharing of that tab. Find the terminal application.
Okay. That will not share. There we go. To go to the exact window.
So let's see. Let me see if this is the thing that works. That does work. Okay, great. So there's a terminal command that you have to run in order to make sure that Claude Code is properly installed. And this is actually what the desktop app uses when you're using co-work. So the easiest way for me to have you do this is maybe stop sharing this, go to the AI assistant in the browser. So either the Claude extension or a Gemini extension or a new tab in the thing or whatever, and say how to launch Claude Code in terminal on Mac. and it'll give you a copy and pastable you're going to have some modules loaded and stuff. So there's a few different things that you might have to do. We'll see if, because I'm assuming the Claude code is loaded in your computer because you've been running it that way.
Right. So we want this.
Well, so that's the install command. That's for npm. If you have npm installed on your terminal, I had a different one here.
I don't know if I do.
You can always try it. So you copy and paste that into the terminal. And then read what it says. After it installs, you can, well, here's what you should be able to try before you do the install, because it's already installed because you use Claude Desktop.
Okay.
In the terminal, you should be, look at what it says on the screen. In the terminal, you should be able to just type Claude.
Well, I put in that what I just copied. I pasted it in there and hit enter, and it's throwing up a lot of errors.
Because npm is probably not installed on your system.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a package. That's a package manager.
Okay. So I've got to over again. So I'll just put Claude into the terminal.
Give it a try.
Command not found.
Yeah. So that's working. Okay. There's another command. Oh, here, you know what I can do? I can copy and paste it to you in the message. That's another way to do it. There's so damn many ways to do everything now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, why? Why aren't you copying and pasting? You bugger. There it is. Okay, the whole thing needs to go in.
Okay. I pasted
The whole thing.
Wait a minute. Let me try again. I selected all and copied it. But I might need to start the terminal again after that Claude command didn't work. So let me come back over here. I've selected all of it and we'll paste it in. Do I need to hit enter to execute?
Yeah.
It is not allowing me to do that. Doesn't look the same. That's really interesting. It's not the same information.
Yeah, this is a different method for installing it.
I mean, like what I'm copying isn't showing up the same in the terminal.
Oh, well then just type it.
The whole thing?
Or type what isn't showing up or something.
I mean, it doesn't look anything the same.
Okay.
No, now maybe it does. It filled in my name.
Doesn't matter what it did. You got to get the terminal to execute that text right there.
It won't. It's saying #1 bin bash not found. Event not found.
Yeah, I mean, we're running into some. We could be in the rabbit hole here.
Yep.
So, bottom line is you were using Claude Desktop before, so we know that Claude code is installed.
Yeah.
So, take a pencil and write this on a piece of paper. Run complete session startup prompt.
Okay.
Once you get Claude Desktop running and you attach the toolkit as the working folder, if you type in that prompt, you'll be off to the races. And it should, as long as it's doing everything it should, and there's no reason why it shouldn't. It will load in all of the preferences and the super context and all that kind of stuff, although that stuff's very empty in the toolkit right now for you. But at the end of it, it'll even ask you, do you want your daily brief? And
right.
And you know, on your first task, you'd ask for your daily brief. On subsequent tasks, obviously, you don't need to echo back the daily brief. You're just wasting tokens. So it's not going to have anything to work with in the clean deployment copy, but you'll get a sense of what's there. And you can essentially just start inputting all of the things that are not there. And so it will naturally build itself up.
Okay.
And then if you actually go into the toolkit and follow, you know, like the context building guides in there, those are step-by-step guides to build your context in. And either you can do that by hand, or you've already like done some of that work, right? Like you took the pictures of the books and got the lists and stuff like that. Yep. So when you run into some of those things, you could just take those files and just throw those in the incoming material. Right. And then process the incoming material, and it'll say, this looks like a list of books. And you go, yes, it is. Put that into the proper personal context files for, you know, and so that's where you can, you know, you'll have shortcuts for everything that you've already done extensive work with.
Okay.
And then when that stuff's in, you basically don't have to figure out how to fill in the gaps. You can basically tell Claude to look at the toolkit and say, there's clearly missing gaps in the context files. How much of it can you backfill from existing information?
Uh-huh.
Prepare a plan document and show me a list of everything that you can do and everything you can't do.
Uh-huh.
In a working file, in a markdown file. I want that to be your discipline for now and forever until we have brain implants of AI or something. I don't know. Okay. Always work your singular source of truth, independent of you and the AI, is that markdown file. And that's true no matter what. That is how you don't get weird stuff occurring just in the conversation thread. And that's the whole premise of intelligence extracted per token. Extracted means written to a file. If it's not written to a file, it's gone after you close up that conversation, right? And so all you're doing is having engaging conversation with an AI, which clearly is a interesting hobby,
Right.
but unless you're writing something to a file, you're wasting your time.
Right.
And yes, Claude can now write docs and PDFs and all of that kind of stuff. But here's where you can get the maximum value from your tokens. You can use Gemini to make a PDF file. You don't have
Right.
to do those up in Claude.
Right.
So when we get to orchestration here, we go, no. The most valuable output comes from Claude. So the most token efficient output from Claude goes to a markdown file. And while I'm doing tasks in Claude Cowork, I can take that markdown file, drag it into Gemini in the browser, and tell it to turn it into a pretty PDF or something like that. Right? That's how you begin to orchestrate and sort of have division of labor. Clearly, there's a bazillion ways to do this, and that's arbitrary. But I'm focused on getting the absolute maximum useful stuff out of Claude, because that's my guy. That's the one that creates the good stuff.
Right.
Converting to PDFs or converting from PDFs to Markdown or you name it, that's low level grunt work, we'll say, and that you can do anywhere.
Right.
You can do that with file converters. You don't even need AI for a lot of that stuff, right? So yeah, that's my soapbox on just holding to the discipline. Forget about all the fancy moves. When you can show me a folder, like you can share on the desktop, you can share a folder and you can show me markdown files that have kilobits after them, and you can launch them and you can go look at all this great stuff. Then you're breathing during your poses.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then
Right.
nothing else matters at this point, because it'll all just be distribution of mediocre stuff anyway. So that's all depreciating assets. It doesn't mean anything. This is first, you got to get the context richness. If you go to the community and you look at stages, the stages are each one of them has a long explanation and they go in sequence, and this is what you want to do. And I'll tell you, you go through those things, it leads to the universal dashboard that is the ultimate filter that we've talked about, right? And it leads to automations, but those are not where you're at, and those won't do you any good because all they do is scale mediocre stuff.
And I guess the next step is I got to reboot this thing to find out if Claude will run.
Probably.
And hopefully it will. And then I can start using the toolkit. But I need to designate the folder that it pulls from, which is my toolkit. And how do I trigger that again?
Well, you've probably been doing this already, right? When
I have, but I just don't remember what I did.
Okay. Well, it's even when we were in the browser, you have your chat window, and there's a plus sign, and it says add folders or files.
Okay.
You know, it's so that's the way it handles it on the web application.
Okay.
The vernacular just switches to work inside a folder.
Okay.
Because you're local.
Right.
Right.
And then I'll just do that, and then I run complete session start up front.
Yeah. If you do that without the right folder attached, it'll
do
have to guess at what you mean by that, and it might ask you questions. It might make up some shit and say we're ready to work or something, you know. But that is one of the core system prompts in the toolkit. So there's a Claude MD and a README file in the top level directory of the toolkit, And so when you direct the task to work inside that folder, it finds that and then goes deeper into the toolkit, reads that markdown file that contains all of the information for the session startup prompt and follows those directions. And so it brings in all of that information. Emphasis on this again, it's a clean copy of the toolkit. I can't actually say that I've run session startup on the clean deployment copy in the recent edition, so I'm not sure what the output is. But you'll get something. You'll get some indication of, wow, look at it. It's actually doing something different than just a cold start conversation with let's make something great today kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the context behind this, I guess pun intended, but what you want to do each day with the new Claude instance of the desktop app is have lots of material for it to work with. But clearly, you don't want to be dragging all of that material in every day. And so by having that folder and that scaffolding built in there with those context files and having a prompt that initiates its understanding of the toolkit, that's how you essentially single step your way into rich context. And so it goes from cold start in a conversation with a new task to running the session start to knowing your preferences, what you're doing in your business, all your objectives, because the next step is, do you want your daily brief? And you say yes, and he goes, okay, great. Your programs are at this stage. Here's your OKRs. You're lagging in this one. You're doing okay in this one. Where we finished off last time is here. You know what I mean? Like that's what you want, right? And you just can't get that without some sort of scaffolding like this. There's many ways you can solve for this. This is just one of them. I'm not saying it's the best. Right. It's clearly human readable, so it's not all buried in a vector database, which is great. But if you're willing to stay in the conversation and watch what's going on, it's reflective of a deep understanding of what you're doing, and it works from that. And so that's really sort of the punchline of this whole methodology, is to have a production ready thing. You can launch this thing, run the session startup, and say, great, we need to focus on the outreach program today. And you refer to that, and it knows what you're talking about, and you'll pick up where you left off from yesterday, and it'll know where you left off from yesterday, because when you ran the ending session master update, it captured the completed work and made a note of that in the super context, which is the thing it loads in at the session startup tomorrow. And you know what I mean? So this is how you pick up from where you left off every day from now forward. That now all of your work starts to be a rolling cumulative advantage investment rather than a bunch of one-off outputs, right?
Right.
So the conversation can manage your whole business and life. You don't have to do it external to what you're producing in the AI. Did it work?
Did what work?
I don't know. You're trying. I thought maybe you're trying to boot it up again.
Yeah, I'm reinstalling again. No.
I mean, the next try is to do a system reboot. So we can end off here. And other than the fact that I should let you direct us there. clearly we've worked on a bunch of the technical stuff, and I feel like I've reinforced kind of the point and the
Mhm.
workflow and stuff like that.
Yep.
But to back out for a minute, sort of capture everything from where you were before the meeting to where we're at now, is there any like open loops or questions that you have, or considerations you have about what's going forward here that you need me to help you clear up or anything?
I feel like I'm really clear on what it is that I'm supposed to be doing and where I'll be able to go. And that's been the part that's been so frustrating about this is we keep running into technical issues because I don't understand what I've done to screw myself over the years, right?
Sure.
And because I don't understand that aspect, again, that's like what we talked about last time, is where I'm starting in the middle, where I understand what this is and how it's supposed to work, but I can't get it to fucking work
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
because I've got all these technical issues. And
Well,
thank you for helping me to walk through some of those, because
yeah,
that can only help.
yeah. And
Because I would
clearly,
really like to do the things that you're telling me I'm going to be able to do.
yeah. The fallback is the universal help desk, and that's the AI in the browser window.
Mhm.
Just open up Claude.ai in the browser window and
Right.
just do a normal chat and just type in the error that you're getting and the circumstance and have it stair step you through troubleshooting those things.
Yep.
And that's for everything. Like I said, I used
Yeah.
it for my bookkeeping. I used it for filing my taxes. I used it for getting MailerLite to do the weird CNAME updates in the back part of SiteGround so that the site authenticated, all these like weird,
Yeah.
esoteric technical things.
Yeah.
Just relentlessly work through those. You're developing a muscle when you're doing that.
Right. And that's why I can feel it, like the exhaustion from it, and the recovery is so important to the flow.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
If we want
Yeah.
to bring it all the way back to that,
Yeah.
that the key to finding flow is going to be leaning into the discomfort of the struggle
Yeah.
and getting a sense for a certain amount of saturation in there with an eye for the prize.
Yeah.
And not backing down, but
Mhm.
moving forward,
Mhm.
being able to disconnect, walk away, sleep, take a walk, do yoga, fill in the blank,
Right.
and come back to it and have something work. And then you drop in.
Right.
And suddenly you're like, holy crap. Oh, well, I could do this, and I could do this, and I could do this. The four indicators of a flow state are the acronym STIR. You can write this down: selfless, timeless, effortlessness, and richness. And so there's a point where once you've done your release part of the phase, you come back in and you get to work, and things start to latch in and work, and the workflows start to work. And then you'll notice the selfless, timeless, effortlessness, and richness. Then you're in flow, baby. And that's great.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that will exhaust itself. Recognize that you've gotten into diminishing returns. Develop a proactive recovery process, which can also involve yoga and these types of things, right?
Uh-huh.
And once you've recovered, lean back in the struggle. Take on
Right.
the next thing. Find the next gap that you missed or have been overlooking, or has been an irritating chunk of mystery in your head that turns into a hairball every time you run into it and you want to run away from it.
Mhm.
And take a nibble at that thing and go, this time I am going to figure that part out. Don't try to take on the world. Don't try to eat the 800-pound gorilla at once. You know this. This is all basic coaching. just going to take on this one thing and I'm going to beat that damn thing to death until I know it every which way but loose. Go back to release, take on your new capability, that run the cycle forward, run the cycle forward, run the cycle forward.
Mhm. Alrighty. Away we go.
And from there on, developing the rigorous discipline actually feels good. That's where your discernment has increased, your resilience has increased, and you get into sort of a stubborn, wouldn't want it any other way but this, because I know what's at the, I know what the payoff is for doing it this way. It's a, we put it in a container and we call it like resilience, but what do we really mean by that? When you unpack it, that's the behavioral pattern, right? It's recognizing and doing the proper thing, not what your neurology is telling you to do, right? It's like taking the cold plunge or sitting in a hot sauna or something like that. Your neurology is telling you to do one thing, and your psychology is saying, no, it's going to be just fine. And behaving that way forces you into experiences where you're reconfiguring the functional network of your brain, so to speak, to recognize differently what it was categorizing elsewise earlier.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's essentially what we know is going on and is put under the umbrella term resilience, right?
Right.
So, these are all things that I know you're already well familiar with. I'm just trying to maybe attenuate your understanding of those in a contextual framework that helps you navigate in a different way than what intuitively would come up.
Uh-huh.
You can't, this is one place where you can't listen necessarily to the intuition, right?
Right.
You have to say, no, not going to happen this time. No way, no how. And then you run that cycle a few times and you're, over cycles, your intuition reshapes around going that way to going that way.
Yep.
And it's a beautiful thing, man. Over time, you start to feel really good about behaving in a very different way than you were before and the way most people behave,
Right.
So,
And I know what this is like. I've been through it. So it is okay for me already to lean into the hard that this feels like, because I know I'm new neural pathways, trying to get up out of the groove of the old ones.
Yeah, you're just transporting it into this domain, right?
Yep.
So that's lateralization.
Right.
Right.
The concern that I was having was, am I doing this improperly and wasting my time creating a new pathway and misunderstanding it? And then also in this case where everything keeps going wrong with the computer and the technical aspect is like, I want to be making these grooves and I keep getting stuck and I can't. So then it feels a little hopeless at times. So I'm feeling hopeful again. And I hope that when I reboot this, we got something to work with. But I'm out.
You have to be open to the fact that you may or you may not. And if you may not, then launch the browser, open up Claude AI, start feeding it the errors, start figuring out how to troubleshoot the stuff out.
That's what I started doing right over here. Yeah.
It's dogged relentlessness,
Right.
right? Which is
That I got.
yeah. Well, that's another term for resilience, right?
Yep.
You just don't accept no for an answer, right?
Yeah.
So, and
The
then somewhere
value's too
behind there,
great
we
for
got,
me to quit.
what's that?
The value's too great for me to quit. I have to find out. Yeah.
Yeah. And somewhere behind this, what we should do is figure out the password reset for the initial registration you did, because we got to figure out what the hell's going on there for future registrations.
Yeah.
And then we can get you back to just using your normal account, and then we can throw away the secondary, the second account as not being useful. So I do want to figure that out because I'm building the community, right?
Right.
And so we don't know to fix something until we run into it being an error.
Right.
And so, lo and behold, we got the circumstance here, and at some point we can figure that out,
Right on.
So cool, man. I hope you got a lot out of it.
Yeah, I always do. Just the thing that's just needling at me is I got to figure out if this thing will go. So I'm going to go see if I can reboot that. And if it doesn't go, I'm going to take a break.
But you now know, you have a better idea of what you can do to solve it too, if it doesn't,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I got a lot of that. And
you know what to do when it does work. You know the exact immediate next steps because we've gotten you preloaded for those things. So
exactly.
So
hopefully that goes and off we can tear. And then it'll be a hurry up and wait situation because the rest of the week I got to travel. So
okay, well,
yeah.
Well, let me know later if when you reboot.
Yeah,
I'd be excited to find out if that.
If it goes, I'll let you know.
Cleared something or whatever.
Yeah. Okie doke.
And now you can also bring that toolkit with you to like your laptop or whatever if you're using Claude Desktop on your laptop or whatever.
I don't have a laptop. That's the next thing.
Well, whatever, it's portable, and you should make up a backup copy of it and get yourself a good thumb drive where you can do regular backups of it. Right.
I got my little guy right here.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting to get. I wanted to get the toolkit going so I can drop it in there and keep that thing updated.
Yeah.
And then we'll see about maybe a refurbished laptop or something in the future that I can take with me.
The toolkit is so small you can make multiple copies, right?
Right.
I just version them or prefix them with a date or something like that, right? 2601, 2602, 2603, whatever your archive frequency is. And honestly, whenever you had a really great productive day with it, or a really productive week with it, there's also a weekly review system built into it. Great time to go through that process and then pull an archive copy off. It's so small. It's really easy to do it. So totally worth the copy and paste,
Yeah.
So
cool, man. Until next time.
Thanks a lot, man.
Let me know.
All
right, will do.
Thanks.
Bye.